Thank you, Mike. Is it okay now?
Seems to be okay.
Yep.
Okay, so I guess I'll start. So hi everyone. My name is Axel Jean-Caurant from the University of La Rochelle in France. I'm a research engineer working on the NewsEye project for 3 years now, and we'll be talking with Jean-Philippe Moreux from the National Library of France today about the use of IIIF in the NewsEye project. Next slide, please, Jean-Philippe. Thanks. So the NewsEye project is a Horizon 2020 project, which started 3 years ago. And the objective of this project is to create tools and help digital humanists to analyze both in a qualitative and in a quantitative way a large mass of newspaper data. The project website is available at www.newseye.eu, and the demonstrator basically gathering all the outputs of the project is available at platform.newseye.eu. So please feel free to check this out. Next slide, please, Jean-Philippe. Yeah. So this NewsEye project, there is 8 partners in 4 countries, so France, Germany, Austria, and Finland. And on the right-hand side of the slide, you can see the main workflow of our project. So you should start reading it from the bottom. So we start with digitized newspapers that were given to us by 3 national libraries. So the National Library of France, Austria, and Finland. We selected a set of about 180,000 issues, so which represents about 1.5 million pages. And the objective is to try and create new algorithms to extract information from these newspapers, create tools to analyze them, and of course, create a user interface for users to be able to use those tools. So starting from the bottom, we started with text recognition and article separation. From there, we try to enrich semantically these data by trying to identify named entities, trying to identify the stance of those entities, and trying to link them to knowledge bases. All this information is gathered in a database, basically. And from there, we have 2 more basically steps of creating tools. The first one is trying to identify try to create topic models on those data, trying to identify trends and so on. And from there, there is the team in Helsinki is in charge of developing a personal research assistant, which goal is to help users automatically identify interesting facts about a collection of documents, or trying to identify trends in this collection and so on. And all those tools can be seen and used through the user interface, which is available at platform.newseye.eu. So next slide, please, Jean-Philippe. Yeah, thanks. So this is an overview of the demonstrator. So this is a digital library-like website that I guess we are all kind of familiar with. So you have a text search in which you can enter keywords to express your queries. The system will return a list of documents that can then be filtered again with different metadata, the language, the newspapers the documents come from, also the named entities that are available in those returned documents. And when you click on a result, you are then sent to a show page of these documents. Jean-Philippe, yeah, next slide, please. So this is the show page basically of one article. You can see that all the issue is presented in the viewer, but the article is highlighted, and you have more information about this article. So you can get the automatically extracted text. You have a list of metadata and the named entities that are available in this particular article. So next slide, please. Yep. And so IIIF was really something that was very interesting for us because it's a nice way to, at the same time, integrate images from national libraries, but also to export new data, so using IIIF. And so in the NewsEye project, we used IIIF as a consumer for the different thumbnails in the research results, but also the viewer on the main show page. All the images are stored on the National Libraries servers, basically, which allows for easy integration, basically, of those documents. But we also use IIIF as a producer in several sense. So the first one is that the National Library of Finland does not have the capacity to create a IIIF server now. So for everything to be on the same page, basically, we also created a IIIF server to publish the images from the National Library of Finland. But more than that, we use IIIF to also export the different articles that were automatically extracted from the newspapers, and also the named entities that we were able to identify. And we decided, because there is not a lot of norm about how to share different kind of metadata like named entities and so on using IIIF, as far as I know. So right now we just use tags in the presentation API to publish these named entities. And I think I will give you the floor, Jean-Philippe.
Thank you, Axel. Yeah, so as Axel just explained to us, the underlying use of IIIF foster the reuse of data. To our opinion, institutions can disseminate more metadata, researchers can share annotation and transcription, and institutions may even wish to benefit from the work of researchers using IIIF representation API as an exchange format. It's the orange arrow in the diagram. IIIF Collection are also a very powerful tool. Within the project, national or thematic corpora have been described as IIIF Collection, which can be browsed in any IIIF viewer. The same data can be accessed for calculation purposes or reused as dumps or dataset. The slide shows the French dataset as a collection open in Mirador 3. As an example, this way, anyone can have instant access to the content. I'm showing the Marie Claire magazine, this issue as an example. So it's instant access. For researcher, the same is true. Researcher dataset can be exported from the demonstrator as complete IIIF collection. It's still a work in progress, but each dataset will include 2 layers of annotation, one for the whole issue content, another one for the articles, part of a specific research dataset. Now, let's start the last part of our presentation on storytelling for digital humanities. We can say that showcasing digital collection is always a challenge for any researcher who wish to publicize results to the general public. Within the project, Digital Humanities Group has produced content to present the work done with the tools developed by the computer scientists. Screencast, notebooks, case study description, Twitter feeds, blog posts have been created for different purposes and different user groups. If blog posts are very useful for popularizing research results, the heritage documents they contain are generally only used to complement the text. First, to highlight digital collection, storytelling tools can be a wise option. There are a couple of image annotation and publication tools already developed, such as Stories or Tessel. They allow commenting on specific part of digitized content to produce a dynamic and interactive analysis. Among these tools, we have chosen to present Exhibit, which is a IIIF storytelling tool developed by Ninosin, currently in beta testing and built on top of Universal Viewer. For this presentation, we have selected a narration from a blog post produced by Nejma Omari for the project, and which is part of a series of articles making the link, the connection between the media treatment of the coronavirus crisis and 100 years earlier, that of the Spanish flu. So let's try to open the story. Yes. These connections and links between the old and contemporary press make it possible to arouse the interest of the public who have been able to discover the digital collection of the BNF. This post got 2,000 retweets and more than 3,000 likes. Among the topics we covered, from vaccination to wearing a mask and so on, we were interested in remedies and drugs claiming to work miracles against the flu, like quinine. Not sure you're seeing anything right now. Yes. In 2020, several scientists have also argued that chloroquine can cure COVID. Direct links to the demonstrator can enrich the story, obviously, like this one, targeting a Le Matin issue from 1918. Many advertisements in the daily newspaper were about the merit of drugs, old-fashioned remedies, and therapeutic cures. This include pink pills or grippe cure, literally the flu cure, promising recovery in a record time. Accordingly, some brands really disguise their ads as short stories, beside which they printed medium portraits in an effort to lend more credibility to their claim. On this slide, we have linked our story to a Gallica proof of concept on content-based image retrieval named Gallica Pics, using a request in a newspaper illustrated ads database. This, by the way, this mosaic is also IIIF driven, and as you can see, we get hundreds of illustration and portraits. So let's go back to our presentation now. Okay. And of course, other topics can be addressed and have been addressed during the project. For example, we had conducted the gender case studies on women's rights, in particular through the press of previous centuries, the right to wear pants, to vote, or to practice journalism for women, all topics of interest. The story of the right to abortion obviously can also be told with the same storytelling tool exhibit, and using, again, illustrated French newspapers or weekly dailies and newspapers. Finally, the tool is also very well suited to explain the operation of the 19th century press, its organization, or the layout of newspaper. It allows users to explore the media in an interactive and very natural way. Just to show you our last exhibit story. A typical newspaper layout, using, again, panning and zooming, allowed by exhibit or stories or any other storytelling tool. And that's all. Thank you again for for listening. I think we have plenty of room for question.
Yeah, so the first question that we have in Huva is, what annotation motivation do you use for this is an article annotations?
That's a good question. I should take a look at that. I'm not sure to be able to answer right now. I don't know if you have an idea, Jean-Philippe.
I can't remember.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I can't remember either.
I think we have to check.
Yeah, we'll have to check. I'm sorry.
Are there any other questions from the attendees? I'll give folks time to type. And also, if you just, I believe the attendees have the ability to unmute yourself. So if you want to unmute and ask, that's fine. Okay, we have one other question. When you tag an agent in the text, is there an authority file, or is it just the media fragment of the canvas?
No, it's just the media fragment of the canvas. There is no authority file.
We did not attempt to make entity name entity linking during this this project.
All right, any other questions from folks? You have one comment that says, thank you. This has been really interesting. Just wanted to share in case you don't have that up. All right, great. So it looks like there aren't any more questions. So thank you both for presenting. This was really fascinating. And thank you for everyone for attending. Just a reminder that we have recorded this and we will send it out in the weeks after the conference. So thanks all. And we will see you at other sessions.
Thanks a lot, everyone.
Thanks, Mike.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.